Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on the E46, where in this video we are installing the M3 front end on this car. When I say M3 front end, I mean the front wings from an M3 and also the front bumper from an M3 CSL. Now, I know it might not be to some people's taste, but personally I think that the M3 wings are perfect. I think the vents that they have and the fact that they're a little bit wider just fit this car so nicely, on top of benefiting for some future parts of this build. Here are the M3 wings that I bought for this car, and as you can see, one's grey, the other's carbon wrapped. However, the reason for going for an M3 wing is you get this wonderful vent, and also they are a bit wider. The only issue is this is obviously not the same colour as my car, and that one's wrapped. Also, they're not the best condition. They've got a bit of rust underneath here, a little bit of rust down here as well. But I picked them up really cheap. They were £220, and that come with the vents and with the indicators, which is quite hard to find. Don't worry, there is not an M3 badge going on this car. There is an M badge. Now, as you can tell, these wings are pretty good. There's no rust here, a few stone chips which have got a little bit of rust on them, but you could sand them down, repaint it, and they'd be pretty good wings. You might ask, why would I change them for these M3 wings? And the M3 wings, if you haven't seen them before, come with the vents, as I've just said, come with the indicators, and they are also a bit wider than the standard wing. Also, we've got some future parts for this car which these wings are required, and you'll see that later on in the build. For now, I'm going to get these wings loaded up because I'm going to head to Dean's house, who you would have seen in the last video, to get these wings sanded down. He has a heat gun so I can remove that wrap. I'm going to sand these down and see what condition we can get them to. And on with removing the wrap. As far as wraps go for removing, this one wasn't too bad, but it's probably due to the state of the panel underneath. So, looking at the wing, you can understand why you wrapped it, but at the same time, why would you wrap it under this? And this is very rusted, which won't be an issue later down the line, but I'm going to sand this all back. This wing looks alright in comparison. It's not as bad with rust, but if I turn this one around, looking on the inside of this, I mean, this connection point where it bolts to the car is all rusted, and the inside is not good at all. So I've cleaned it up as best I can, whacked some primer on it, and it is high build primer, so it might fill in the sand spots, but obviously you're still going to see all that, so we'll see what happens.
Using a degreaser, I start to prep the panel and take as much dirt off as possible before moving to a wire brush so I can remove as much rust as possible without taking too much material off the panel. I then took the panels back home and gave them a final clean before prepping them for paint.
So after a bit of a clean up, they're actually not too bad. This one's definitely the worst one, and you can still see that there's a bit of rust going on the inside. There is actually a bit of a hole just here. However, they're going to serve their purpose for what I need for this build, as I keep saying, and all will be revealed. So let's sand these down now and get them ready for primer.
I used an orbital sander for a lot of this panel just because I had to go down to metal for some of it and it was in such poor condition. I then used brake cleaner to get all the dust off and make sure the panel was properly clean.
That is the first panel done, nearly. I need to just sand in here so the primer adheres to that a bit better. However, this was, as you can probably tell, the worst piece, but we've managed to get it flat and soft and smooth. Everywhere else is soft and smooth. This was a bit of a pain because that was a bit raised, but that's alright. Actually, for being the worst panel, like you can see from the rust on the inside, it's come out pretty well here. We will get away with that, I think. It's not going to look too bad. We can potentially put some fiberglass filler in there if needs be, just to fill the hole, but we'll see what it looks like when it's all primered up. So I'm going to sand these bits down and then I'll whack the primer on and we can compare this panel to the untouched panel. So that's 2 coats now done with etch primer on the backside, obviously where all the rust is and all that sort of stuff. So that's looking a lot better. actually looks pretty cool. It's all sort of like a matte black colour from the etch primer, but this will fill all the imperfections in from sanding on the top side, which I'm going to flip it over now and do the top side. I'm excited to see what it looks like flipped over, so I'm going to crack on now, flip it over, do 3 coats on the top side, then this one needs to be done, but losing lights, that'll definitely be done another day. One coat down, I'll let that dry, come back, do my next 2 coats, and then I'll catch up with you probably when all 3 coats are done. So I'll clip to that now. And there we have one primed M3 wing. I have put the vent in it, and it is finished, and it is a couple of days later because I definitely ran out of light. However, let me show you around this wing, as I think it's come out quite good for the condition it was in. As you can see, it looks much better. This was the worst one of the 2, as the rust actually made a hole through here, which is a lot more hidden. I might put some fiberglass filler in it, but I might just leave it as it is because, again, we'll sort that out in the future. I've managed to cover off the inside and protect it a little bit more using that primer again around all the important bits, as well as sanding back, and you saw what I did to get rid of the rust there, or at least eliminate as much as possible. And when we compare it to the original wing, this one was the better of the 2, but still in quite poor condition, especially paint wise. I think it was just a rattle can job. So it's time to make this one look like this one and get it on the car.
And just like the first panel, we sand this one down, we clean it with brake cleaner, and we spray it with the etch primer.
This is both of them finished. This one is the original one that I did, the first one that I painted, and I did go over it again to try and get rid of some of these white marks. So that has had another coat, and that had the same amount. So there's 4 coats on both of them now, and I think they are looking absolutely spot on. Cannot wait to get them on the car. We need to get them fitted. I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to let them fully dry, and then I'll get them on the car. It is delivery day, and I am far too excited. I rushed home from work to unbox this. This, if you haven't seen by the thumbnail and the title, is a very special package and a key package to this entire video. Right. I mean, it's packaged well, and it has made it all the way from Poland, safe and sound, we hope. Oh. Here we have an E46 M3 CSL Front Bumper, and to accompany that we have an E46 CSL Front Lip, which goes something like that. That looks absolutely epic. I'm buzzing and I cannot wait to get that on. Only thing I need to figure out is how, because it is a full fiberglass bumper with no attachments, so I don't know how that's going to go on. I assume a little bit of hopes and dreams, but we'll get there. We're now going to jump to finally getting the wings and figuring this out to get this on the car. Another thing that's been really bugging me is essential for a BMW to have a proper BMW badge. By that I mean not one of these blacked out badges. It's carbon white against black and it just looks naff. So we have a brand new genuine BMW badge. Every BMW needs to have this. This is probably the easiest modification you will ever do on any car ever. Get a trim tool, pop that one off and chuck it in the bin. Then we get our genuine BMW badge, line up our holes and push her on. For such a small, it's not a modification, it's an unmodification. For such a small unmodification, I think that makes the world of difference and takes it back to what it should be from factory. Not even OEM plus, just OEM. That is the last thing we need to do before getting this bumper and these wings on. I promise this is it, this is what you click for. Let's get the bumper and the wings on. So looking at the arch liner, goes all the way round, all the way here. There's actually a screw, I don't know if you can see it, just in there, there's a screw. You have to take the subframe out to get the screw out, to get the arch liner out. So, like I've done that side, I'm just going to fold it underneath and we should be able to reach the whole wing and the front bumper and everything the assembly we need to get to by doing that. And I'm not taking the subframe off to take a screw out to hold a piece of trim in. That's ridiculous.
It turns out that's not the subframe, it's just a piece of bracing. However, there's still no need to remove the arch lining completely when we could just fold it out of the way. Moving on to the wings, there's a series of Torx bolts at the top, followed by a bolt inside the door, one on the reverse of the door, and one down by the side skirt. We then mock up the new wing to see how it looks with a couple of bolts holding it in place.
It doesn't look like it sticks out too much here, but that's because that's popped out, where that would normally sit in. So you'd normally see there's a massive difference, but you can still see it. Those wheels are going to be lost. So first wing just mocked up, going to take it off again to put the front bumper on, but just wanted to show how wide it is compared to the stock wing. But obviously it's not the right colour. This car is going to be painted and or wrapped, so going to take that wing off, get the front bumper on, and then show you when it's done.
To remove the front bumper on E46, there are two hidden E-Torx bolts up inside the bumper, and that's what you can see me removing here.
That was so much dust in my face.
175,000 miles of dust.
Yeah. Wunderbar. So now we need to take the bash bar off.
That bumper's just a skin, isn't it?
Yeah, it literally is just a skin.
Now, disclaimer, we had absolutely no idea how to remove the bash bar from the bumper, so we were pulling, prying and twisting absolutely everything we could see just to get this thing removed. However, it turned out brute force and ignorance was the way forward, because we then discovered the best way to remove it.
Oh, hold on. Look, see those clips here?
Oh yeah, just got to put it out then.
Yeah, I think so. Ow! Let's put that fucker out. Blood, definitely sweat, but no tears yet, as long as this goes on.
With the bash bar removed, we then put it on the car and installed both the wings hard mounted, ready to install the bumper.
So we have hard mounted the wings on, and currently trying to get the bumper on, and I'll show you. Theory is, because we've got these that normally clip on to the side in this white bracket you can just see in here, they obviously hold the bumper up, but the bumper fits quite nicely there, so we're going to put a riv nut in the top here and then screw through and bolt that to the wing for security, and then we'll use some good old Mansory glue, as Matt Armstrong likes to call it, and we'll glue the crash bar to the bumper, because this is just a skin essentially, and potentially put a riv nut in the bottom of the crash bar under here and put a bolt through there as well, which you shouldn't really be able to see when it's on. At least that's a theory anyway, so we're going to crack on and look at getting this riv nut in the bumper and try and drill through and get them all sorted and secure the bumper to the wings.
With the riv nuts installed, it's time to put the Mansory glue on the bash bar and press on the bumper. Then on goes the securing bolt in the middle of the crash bar before assembling the full front end back together, including the wheel arch liners and finally the wheels.
there it is. The 330Ci has a full front end from an M3 CSL, making it kind of a 330 CSL. Now let's have a look around. For those who don't know, this is an M3 CSL front bumper, slightly different to the M3 being the CSL, and the only difference really is there would be a fog light here with an air duct in, and the same on the other side. You can see on the far side there is a hole which that goes straight up to the intake. From the front you can see it looks very wide, much wider than it was before, and because of that we've completely lost our wheel fitment. It wasn't 100% before, but now it's definitely nowhere near, so it might be time to get some new wheels. Looking at the bonnet you can see that the gap is fairly consistent both sides, but it's still not very good. It starts off narrow at the front and then it goes out thin in the middle and gets quite wide at the top end, so the bonnet does not fit with these wings very well. On top of that, the standard bonnet does sit a bit lower than the M3 wings. The M3 bonnet obviously should sit a bit higher, so we either have to source an M3 bonnet or think of a way to raise this somehow, and I know which one I'd prefer. What you guys haven't seen is me install the grille. Now that's because when I installed the body kit I didn't have the grille, so I did that off camera using a bit of tiger seal around the edges just to make sure the grille meets up with the bumper quite nicely, and as you can see it completely finishes off the look of the car. All in all, this has been a successful video. I'm absolutely in love with how wide this car now looks with the wings and the bumper installed. That with the seats, this car is getting ever closer to the vision I've got in my head. If you like the content and you like what you see in this video, make sure you come back for the next video because we've got a lot more content coming on this car. Make sure you like, comment down below, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you subscribe as well, because hitting that subscribe button massively helps me out and massively helps me keep creating content for you guys to watch in the future. With that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here and I'll catch you guys in the next video.